UFP, the United Federation of Podcasts.
Engage.
78 years have passed since the days of the original USS Enterprise. Now a new Galaxy starship has been designed.
Lutz, Choi, Chu. Welcome to Galaxy Class, a Star Trek The Next Generation podcast on the United Federation of Podcasts Network. I am your Chief Recreational Officer and Coordinator of Warriors, Ria Papagiorgio, and with me today are Diplomatic Standard Bearer Kevin Scharf and Head of Astrophysics and Other Things, Joe Keegan. Gentlemen, how are you doing today?
I'm a little frightened.
I'm kind of stunned. Ria, I had a daydream this morning about going back to work, because I'm going back to work, like going back to the belt. I've been working for the past 3 months and teaching kids online, but I'm going back to work, going back to the building on Monday, and I had a daydream that I had a class in front of me, and our head teacher, the principal, came in. And he came into the room, and I always like to do kind of random stuff because I'm weird like that. And you know what I said to him? I said, Maltz, Choni Chu. And you've just said it. And I said it in my mind earlier today, and you've done the same thing.
Wow.
Oh, that's amazing.
Same page here.
I'm not fluent in the Klingon language, so I'm sorry. I have no idea what you said.
Weirdly,
well, I said,
I think I'm evolving. Maybe, you know, like in the episode Transfigurations, and John Doe turned into an energy being and flew through the ceiling on the bridge. I think something like, so we've just seen what's happening with Ria and I, and we're separated by millions of miles because she's in Nebraska and I'm in Scotland. So like we're quantumly entangled at some level.
Sounds like it.
My brother called me like half an hour ago to tell me about he's discovered that the tap in his kitchen is touch sensitive, so you can just tap it and it turns on and off. And I saw a video on Facebook about how to install a touch sensitive tap in your kitchen, like this morning. And I'm like, okay, what's happening with the universe? It's very strange.
Very strange.
Kevin, I'm going to let you get a word in edgeways.
It's okay. I've got nothing to say. As usual, I have nothing to say.
Nothing. Shh, Kevin, shh.
Stage whispers.
Stage whispers.
My parents have a touch-sensitive faucet in the kitchen, and
faucet.
So my dad's so used to tapping it with his. He's got really bad arthritis and has trouble with his hands, so he's always tapping it with his forearm. And so then he comes to visit me, you know, on rare occasions, Dad. And then he's tapping my non-touch sensitive tap with his forearms. I'm like, Dad, you gotta lift the lever.
Wow.
I don't know.
Interestingly, for non-American listeners, they might not know that the faucet is named after the American actress Farrah Fawcett.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea.
Very, very true.
So do you call it your Farrah? You call it your Farrah in Scotland?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You say, Ewan, can you just get me some water from the Farrah?
Yeah. I do that on a daily basis.
That's wonderful. Well, let's check the communication array to see if we have any comments from our listeners.
Let's.
Logs accessed.
So, in the Federation Council Chambers regarding Galaxy Class Episode 31, Build Your Own Watch List, Part 2, Family, Jason A. Anderson asked the question, is the episode family on the list?
Family on the family list.
How could we leave that off? Although I was the only one who brought it up, but yes, we could not talk about Next Gen Family without the episode family. It's pretty pivotal.
Yeah,
it's almost like Family is a two-parter with the episode before or after it, Brothers. It's like they kind of go hand in hand, don't they?
Oh, you think it goes with Brothers?
It's because they're that same kind of theme, aren't they? It's still the theme of family.
I see it more as part of the Best of Both Worlds trilogy, that it's the aftermath of the Borg
Can we have it as a quadrilogy?
Sure.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
And I don't think we talked about brothers at all.
We didn't. Because instead of the Soong family, I talked about Lal with Data.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Sad face. We have another comment from Paul Wright Jr. saying that Remember Me was my favourite Beverly Wesley scene. It's just the whole episode, the two of them. I think Remember Me is my favourite Beverly episode. But the fact that they have to work together to solve the issue of...
And yet they can't communicate because they're in separate universes. It's... Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This quote probably came up because I was saying that I was having a tough time finding a good episode about Beverly and her family. And Remember Me is probably the best of the bunch. And I think Remember Me is in our next Batleth battles, so we'll see if we can...
Maybe I'm thinking Remember Me and The Game.
Oh, yeah.
Where Wesley comes home. And there's the ocular thing that beams those little flowers, and you put the discs in the flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, that was a prophecy that came true. But speaking of Batleth battles, we had some comments on a post about Conspiracy, which a very cool person shared a picture because Conspiracy was on HNI TV a few days ago. And the scene, kind of the dinner scene where they're eating all the live wiggling worms. I guess the Conspiracy aliens version of Gach.
Yummy.
And I'd posted a picture of that because, I remember the first time that episode aired and it's stuck with me 30-some years later. And we had comments, Alex Ortega, Conspiracy, great episode. Heidi Stuck, love this episode. Zach Moore, same, ew. And I posted another picture of when...
Remick?
I can't think of his name.
Remick,
yes. When Remick's head blows off and said, even more than this scene. And that the dinner scene sticks with me even more than that scene. Yvette Blackman says, Rhea Papagiorgio, this is the one that did a number on me. Chris Lutz chimes in, I'll raise you de-evolved Worf. This episode terrified me as a kid. Didn't revisit it until a few years ago. Still freaks me out. And so that would be the episode where they all de-evolve back in time.
Yeah.
Genesis, yes, thank you. It's Planet Forbidden. And then Jim Stoffel asks, what's for dinner? So
spaghetti.
Yeah.
Short spaghetti.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think I think we've talked about this before, but was that episode not either banned or heavily edited to cut out all those gruesome scenes by the BBC in the UK?
I think it was, yeah.
Can't actually remember.
And again, I still chalk that episode up as to being a show still trying to find its footing. It didn't know how far it could push its limits because it wasn't a network show. They could push limits farther, and they got away with that.
Yeah,
but they never went back. I think the response to it was not great, so they never went that far again. There's never anything as gory as that in Next Gen again that I can think of, or even in Star Trek as a whole again.
Until
now,
modern day, yeah. But I heard somewhere, and listeners, if you know more about this story, please fill us in. But that the level of gore was intentional, kind of as a rebelling against. I don't know if it was the network, studio, producers, I don't know who. Said no, you got to clean this up, and instead they made it more gory.
Wow.
But
that sounds like a kind of thing the network would do. It's like, no, we don't like this. Our viewers won't like it.
Again, but the show wasn't on a network, so
yeah, it was syndicated.
Yes,
that's a very American
it was
thing.
On City TV, our Federation station.
Oh my gosh, it was on KLJB TV. Turn us on. Where I lived, yes, that was their logo. It was Channel 18.
BBC Two for me.
BBC,
nice.
BBC Two. There you go. Yeah,
we'll have to write a song about it for our musical episode of Galaxy Class.
Let's.
This is the captain. Senior officers will report to my ready room immediately.
Well, speaking of Gach and a de-evolved Worf, today we are continuing our character profile series, and our lucky character today, the first Klingon to serve in Starfleet, the son of Moog, the son of Sergei and Helena Rozhenko, of the House of Martok, the one and only Worf.
Qapla.
Qapla!
Qapla. Kerplunk?
So, gentlemen, what is the first thing you think of when you think of Worf? I guess it's Qapla.
Well, yeah.
Well, Worf is your stoic, honor-filled... I don't want to say angry, because he's not angry, but he's the most serious character in all of Star Trek, I think. So that's how I think of him. Tall, foreboding, serious.
I think latterly, when we see him later on in Deep Space Nine, I think honourable. I suppose early on in TNG, I see him as being really rigid, because he has that. Given that he was brought up by humans mostly, he has that weird idea about what it is to be Klingon. And for him, it's just about being honourable and being that warrior. And that's all he sees. So that's what he is. So there's some kind of level of rigidity about him.
Yeah, and I think of... I identify with him so much. And... he definitely overcompensates for being a Klingon raised on Earth, but I think he truly is an honorable and a loyal individual, and he would sacrifice himself for the good of the many without a second thought.
Right.
The scene that comes to mind when you mention that is in First Contact, when Picard kind of cuts him really deeply and says, "You're being a coward." Picard wants to stay and fight the Borg, and everybody else is saying, no, we have to abandon ship and destroy it and just live out our lives on Earth in the past. And Worf is kind of really hurt for this because he looks up to Captain Picard so much because of his loyalty and that sense of honour that he has.
And that is something that I think is pretty big, is the Worf and Picard relationship. There's two-way loyalty there. They both are loyal to each other. They both respect each other. When Kurn came aboard the Enterprise and Worf found out that Mog's honor was being challenged, and Worf asked Picard for time off to go to Kronos, Picard was like, absolutely not. He says, going with you. Didn't hesitate to stand by Worf, and Worf selected him as his Chadich, and it's such a mutually respectful relationship.
Well, Worf respects honor and integrity and can't stand two-facedness. So, of course, he would give his loyalty to someone like Picard, who's like the epitome of all Starfleet ideals, right? So,
right. And vice versa. Picard gives his loyalty to Worf.
And, I've got to think Worf didn't have an easy time in Starfleet as the first Klingon ever to join, right? That would have been a tough row for him to hoe. So,
yeah.
Given that he'd already killed somebody, albeit accidentally, in that childhood football soccer game,
that was going to be my obscure fact for the next round here, Joe. That Worf accidentally headbutted a kid when he was 10 years old at a soccer match and killed him. So, last week when we were talking about family, we talked about Worf quite a bit too, and we wondered why he was so different from his jovial human parents. And I think that incident's got to be part of it, right?
That's got to have lived with him.
If you're 10 years old and you accidentally kill a playmate, it's going to affect you.
Definitely cause you to rein yourself in and restrain yourself.
Yeah,
absolutely,
for sure.
Joe, you have an obscure fact?
Oh, had we jumped on this obscure facts now?
Yes.
Okay.
Going with the flow.
So I'm going to come back to something we've talked about before, in that memo from 1987, the Paramount memo with the casting options. And Michael Dorn does not appear as... no, I'm lying. I'm looking at the wrong character. Okay. So that's an even more obscure fact. The character of Worf does not appear on the casting memo from 1987. You've got Picard, Riker, Troy, Tasha Yar, Geordi LaForge, Wesley, Data, and Beverly, but there's no mention of the character of Worf.
Did they have a Klingon at all?
No, I don't think so. It basically goes through. It's the memo with like Wesley Snipes to play Geordie LaForge. Is that memo? And who else do I know? I don't know anybody else.
John Champion as Wesley?
No, it's J.D. Roth as Wesley.
Don't know who that is.
Denise Crosby is the only choice to play Troy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Worf does not appear on that memo. That's my obscure fact.
Well, I don't think Worf was intended to be a major character at the beginning, right? If you look at season 1, he didn't really have a job. He was just sort of bridge officer who stood at the science station or whatever station he needed to be standing at, or he flew the ship occasionally. It wasn't until after Tasha died and they promoted him that he got a job. So I don't know if Worf was ever, in the original creation of the show, ever intended to be as integral to all of Star Trek as he ended up becoming. Because it almost ends up becoming the Worf and his friends show. When you look at, like, he's the character who's appeared in the most episodes of Star Trek is Worf.
Yep.
Right? So.
Yep. And I'm glad that he did develop like that, because not only did they get to develop him as a character, but really flesh out Klingon culture, which some people aren't a fan of, but I am. And actually, my obscure fact, because we know so much about him, it's like, well, there's not an awful lot about him that's obscure. But I did find out through my research that he appeared in 3 different season finales. The TNG season finale, Deep Space Nine season finale, and the season finale of the television show Webster. And that wasn't Michael Dorn, that was Worf. Lieutenant Worf appeared on the season finale of Webster.
I do remember that.
Yeah, in 1989, which was about season 2 of TNG. And I am going to have to look that episode up because that is too cool.
Don't think I've even heard of Webster before, so...
Oh, Webster was a show about an orphaned young African-American boy who was raised by a young couple, a young non-African-American couple.
Oh.
In fact, I think he was Greek.
Well, was he Greek or was the friend? They had a friend that was
No,
Greek.
the family was Greek. It was Papadopoulos.
Papadopoulos, yeah. Oh my gosh. I haven't seen that show in like 30 some odd years. But I do remember the Papadopoulos, but I thought that, I'm mixing it up with another show. Anyway, this is not...
Welcome, listeners, to episode
podcast,
1 of the Webster podcast.
Yes.
We'll talk about the series finale of Webster over and over again.
That's right.
It's fun.
Alrighty. So, speaking of Worf...
Worf.
Like Kevin said, he's appeared in more episodes and movies and seasons than any other character in all of Star Trek. So what would you say is his crowning achievement?
Has to be security chief on the Federation flagship, doesn't it?
I think, yeah. If we're looking at his time on The Next Generation, his promotion to security chief, and his... I think all of his interactions with the Klingons. I mean, he met Kahless, right? Like he was there for the return of Kahless. That's a pretty major thing in the annals of Klingon history.
Yeah, and that's a good distinction there, Kevin. While he was aboard the Enterprise, so during the TNG run, I had to think long and hard about that because he did a lot of kind of little stuff here and there, or he did a lot of stuff that kind of added up over time. But the one thing that stood out for me in his TNG career was his encounters with the Borg. He was always there. He was always kind of in the forefront. He was very brave. He didn't hesitate to go aboard Borg cubes, trying to rescue Picard. And then in First Contact, he helped to destroy the deflector dish. He was up there, on the hull of the Enterprise and all that.
In the beginning, he was in the Defiant, mind.
Yes.
Beat up the Borg cube and the Defiant was falling apart. He was like, prepare ramming speed.
Yes.
Another wee guy...
Today is a good day to die.
Another wee guy at the helm's like, there's another ship coming in. It's the Enterprise.
Bum, 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 bum.
Well,
Yes.
if we're going to talk about Worf outside of just the run of Next Gen, he was the commanding officer of the Defiant. Really, like that was his mission on DS9.
That's his bedroom.
Yeah, he slept there. He
sang Klingon opera there.
Yeah. So I think his promotion to that position is a big deal for him as well.
Yeah, I mean, if you expand it to Deep Space Nine, I think his involvement in Klingon affairs and the Klingon government, and he was he killed Gowron.
Mm-hmm.
He helped Martok to become Chancellor of the Klingon Empire. He served, aboard Klingon ships in the Dominion Wars. I think if you look at his overall career, that I would put his service to the Klingon Empire probably at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And is it whatever the opposite of crowning achievement is, it has to be parenthood?
Yeah, not a great dad.
Mm-hmm.
No,
which is interesting because he's such a sweet guy. You think he would be a good father, and he doesn't run from commitment, and he doesn't run from, responsibility or sacrifice. So, it is what it is.
Mm.
Actually, I was thinking recently, because I was watching some season 6 Deep Space Nine, that I would love to see, maybe an animated spin-off series, but more a series of children's books about the adventures of Alexander in the Klingon military.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, because he was hilarious at the end of Deep Space Nine there. Speaking of Alexander and Worf's family, what family relationships do you think that shaped Worf's life?
Oh, that's difficult, isn't it?
Well, interestingly, the first one that pops to mind, and this isn't, I guess technically it's family, is Kalar, right? He loved Kalar, and yet she sort of rebuffed him, rebuked him. She, but he respected her, and I think his interactions with Kalar sort of inform his relationships going forward. Of course, she left him with Alexander, so that's a big deal too. But the way he interacted he wanted to do the full Klingon thing with Kalar, and she's like, ho now.
Yeah.
I think that affected how he interacted with people he was interested in for the rest of the time he was on Star Trek.
I hadn't thought about that until now, because if you look at his relationship with Jadzia, she's another one similar to Kalar, kind of a free spirit, not bound by tradition, not even interested in tradition, kind of like Kalar. And Worf is so rigidly traditional, which makes perfect sense. I was kind of thinking about this with my next door neighbors. They're Kurdish refugees from Iraq. They've been in the U.S., 5-6 years, and they hold tightly to their Kurdish culture and food and traditions. They come to the U.S. and they get bullied by racists, because they're not American,
right?
Which makes them hold on to those traditions even tighter. You see that with a lot of kind of immigrant groups. My people too, we hold on to the Greek stuff and give a middle finger to the American stuff or Canadian or Aussie stuff or wherever. But with Worf, he was all alone as the only Klingon on Earth. Or at least in his village in Russia there, clinging so tightly to his image of what Klingon traditions and culture should be, became more Klingon than Klingon.
Which really all came from his own research, right?
Yeah. It's the Federation view of what it is to be Klingon.
He was 6 years old when the Khitomer massacre happened. Mm-hmm. But then, even though he's more Klingon than Klingon, he pursues, half Klingon woman, half human. Troy, human betazoid, Jadzia, a Trill.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, kind of interesting that he never had a full-blooded Klingon woman in his life.
But he was very attracted to strong, independent women, which is maybe the closest thing he could get to a Klingon woman at the time.
That's another good point, because he was friends with Tasha Yar. They never became involved romantically, but he was a good friend to her and supported her. Mm-hmm. And Sito Jaxa, he was kind of a mentor to her, another strong Bajoran woman.
Do you know what? I keep on seeing in my mind, but when Ducat killed Jadzia, and it's still quite a young relationship between Worf and Jadzia at that point, and then she just has the most meaningless death, and they had their whole future in front of them. So I think he found happiness at last, and then it was ripped away from him. The other one that's definitely family is, like you mentioned earlier, Rhea, is his relationship with Captain Picard. It's definitely a kind of almost father-son, very respectful, very, very deep and meaningful. So it's a toss-up between Jadzia and Picard for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had Jadzia in the mix too because, like you said, he finally was able to find peace with her, and she was still that strong, free-spirited woman that he seems to be attracted to, like with Kalar. But she has the Dax symbiont and this deep understanding of Klingon culture, and even though, like in the DS9 episode where they get married, even though there was a little resistance, let's say, on Dax's part to the full Klingon treatment there, ultimately she's someone that could understand his need to be traditional and immersed in the Klingon culture, and
almost to be accepted by his people again, because he'd spent most of his life being brought up with humans, so he had to just totally immerse himself in everything that meant to be Klingon. And
then discommendation and all that. But actually, the one that I ended up kind of picking as the top family relationship would have been with the Rozhenkos, with Sergei and Helena, because they could have kind of tried to force him to be more human, but Helena learned how to cook Klingon dishes for him. They seem to just, yes. They seem to give him the love and support that he needed, but also the freedom to, still be himself and explore his Klingonness.
And it's interesting that they chose a Russian family to be his adoptive parents, because
instead of Greeks.
Yeah, was it not initially that the Klingons were designed as the Russian part of the Cold War? Kind of that analogy between America and Russia. It was the Federation and the Klingons.
Yeah. The evil empire.
So I kind of want to bring up one more and this is going to flip over into our next topic, which is regrets, and that's Worf's relationship with his brother, Kurn, right? Yes. They were reconciled during an officer exchange program. Kurn ended up on the High Council, and then things happened, and Worf was discommendated and stripped of his honor, and Kurn comes back to Worf asking him to be ritually killed, and instead Worf knocks him out and wipes his memory and gives him cosmetic surgery so he doesn't look like he's from the house of Moog, So, I mean, that's an important family relationship, and it's got to be a terrible regret for him, too, that he had to do that to his brother.
Yeah, that his whole relationship with Kurn, oh my gosh. I love the episode Sins of the Father, where Kurn appears out of nowhere, in the officer exchange program. And then Worf gets discommendated. Well, then Worf regains his honor, and then Kurn is able to serve on the High Council, but then Worf pisses off Gowron disgraces the House of Moog, and every time Kurn's kind of jerked around because Worf is this very prominent Klingon living a very non-Klingon role, yet trying to be so Klingon.
Do you think that there's like Klingon tabloids that keep track of what Worf's doing? Look at what this guy, this quote unquote Klingon in Starfleet has done now.
I would not be surprised.
So that there's like a Keeping Up with the Kardashians type of show, like making the most of the Moogs.
I can't speak about Kurn because he's played by Tony Todd, who still scares me.
Candyman.
Yeah, shh. Shh, don't say it.
Candyman.
No.
Candyman.
It's behind me.
You are referencing something that I don't know about.
It was a horror movie that Tony Todd starred in.
Oh.
It's just his voice, isn't it? Oh, terrifying.
Yeah, regret-wise, I would probably say his relationship with Alexander. Okay, yeah, he was caught off guard, didn't know that he had a son, and then Kalar's brutally murdered, and he ends up as a single father. But I think looking back, and especially when you fast forward to Deep Space Nine, when Alexander kind of comes out of the woodwork to serve aboard the Rataran, and Worf sees what his, let's call it, hands-off style of parenting has done to this poor boy, I think that would be Worf's regret.
Yeah.
Regrets. It's hard to think about regrets for Worf because there's just so many. I think there's so many. It's hard to. It's hard to choose one that could be the ultimate in regret. Obviously,
really, more things happen to Worf than almost any character on the show.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Poor Worf. I want to hug him.
It's the Worf show.
Yeah.
Star Trek: The Worf Generation.
Are all his regrets maybe just kind of nullified by the fact that he has two penises?
Oh gosh.
Could ask Kalar.
Discovery made it canon, so
Yeah.
who knows?
You know, he grew so much over the course.
Are we still talking about his
of
penises?
both series.
I went there too.
Oh,
I went there
whoops.
too.
I hear it now.
Thanks, guys. I needed this.
Listeners, I'm keeping that in, so I'm sorry.
He grew like this much.
Joe has his hands
Joe, you gotta double
separated
that.
a great distance.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, we're leaving this in.
Do it.
That's what she said. No, stop it. Yeah, regrets. Does Rhea regret saying anything at all?
No.
Usually.
Yeah, I don't have anything more to add. That he has lots of regrets. Is one bigger than the other? I don't know.
Ask Jadzia.
She's dead.
Oh, that's true.
Well, I think not being able to save Jadzia is probably a regret for him too.
Yeah.
They didn't have much time together.
No.
Yeah. And if I might rephrase what I was trying to get at earlier, Worf underwent a great deal of character development during his time in TNG and DS9. And I think you're right that he came on as kind of an afterthought. I mean, with that haircut, season 1 of
the
TNG.
biggest regret there is the bob.
There you go.
Isn't it?
That haircut, yeah. But because he underwent such character development, he made so many mistakes and usually learned from them. But he made so many mistakes in order to learn from them, in order to grow as an individual.
You have to, don't you?
When you make that many mistakes, yeah, you might have a regret or two along the way. And that's another thing I love about him, is you see him make these mistakes. It's very relatable. Now, as a leader, as Worf develops, what characteristics do you admire the most about him, either as a leader or as an officer? And what do you take from Worf to try to improve in your life?
Well, he's very tall, so you can always see him when you're out in the field.
That's a great one. I try to improve that myself. Stretching.
I like the balance that he showed throughout TNG with his, what was the martial art, the Tai Chi thing?
Is it
Was it the Machbara?
Molkabara or
Yeah, I think so. The Klingon kind of Tai Chi-like martial art. The fact that he wasn't just a warrior, he had other skills. And you think, when you think warrior, you think, oh, he's just going to go in with his batleth and chop people up. But there's there's almost the samurai, kind of that being kind of centered and being balanced. Sure. That has an important aspect to what Worf was.
very zen?
Well, here's one too that is kind of funny. I think that Worf was never afraid to give his opinion, even though he knew it was going to be shot down many, many, many times. Isn't there a YouTube video of Picard just saying, "No, Mr. Worf, no, 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 we're not going to shoot it. Nope, don't fire that. Nope, don't touch that button. No.
Yes.
So, he's not afraid to speak his mind, but he also respects the chain of command, and I think he probably learned a lot from Picard, including restraint.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I think Shax on Lower Decks. I think a lot of Shax was inspired by Worf.
The angry Bajoran, yeah.
Yeah. Let me fire the photon torpedoes. Oh, come on.
It was definitely an homage, wasn't it?
Yes, I think so. I really respect Worf. Worf does the right thing. And it doesn't matter. He is not afraid to sacrifice. He is a very principled man. Even if it involves his own death, or worse yet, his discommendation, he'll take one for the team. He will make the sacrifice. That's something I admire. He's selfless.
Absolutely. Did I do mine? I can't remember.
No, go ahead, Joe.
No, I think I was making the point about the Makbara and how he teaches everybody Makbara to kind of make them better, and all the skills that you would develop in learning a new martial art or new kind of physical skill like that. I like the fact that he had those leadership qualities and he knew why that was important to becoming a better warrior, a better officer, I think. And
wasn't Sito Jaxa, wasn't she one of his students?
I think they got
yes.
one-on-one lessons, did they not?
Yeah, and I think he saw something in her and became a mentor to her.
Yeah. It was the Bajoran warrior. It was identifying the warrior within her.
Yeah,
that's why,
kind of like Shax.
Yeah, and that's why she was on the security path, wasn't it?
Yeah. He recognized someone that persisted through what's the word I'm thinking of?
Adversity.
Not diversity.
Adversity,
yeah. He recognized someone who persisted through adversity and helped to nurture her along to her death, but we don't talk about that.
No.
We did in our previous episode, and it was one of the reasons why I think Picard should have lost command of the Enterprise.
I kind of disagree, but that's a previous episode.
Yep.
Hey, maybe we should do an episode where we disagree with what people said on a previous episode.
We get angry.
In song.
We get angry at our own previous opinions. Yep.
I've changed my mind. I was an idiot. I drank too much wine, and that is why I said it.
That's true.
So, what are your favorite moments or favorite quotes or favorite Worfisms? Well,
for me, my favorite Worf episode doesn't really involve all of the Klingonness of his background. I love Parallels.
Yep.
That's my favorite Worf episode. It's Worf having to figure things out on his own because he really can't trust anybody else because they're not experiencing what he is. Like, to know that things are changing around you and nobody else around you can notice it, that's scary. That's nightmarish. That's nightmarish right there. And I really love that episode. I love seeing the subtle changes. Like when the first one is like the cake is a different color. It's not chocolate anymore. The painting's on a different wall. But then you get to, oh, Captain Picard is dead, and Riker's the captain of the Enterprise. Oh, Riker is dead, and Worf is the first officer of the Enterprise. Oh, Geordi is dead, and Alyssa Ogawa is chief medical officer of the Enterprise. I just love the way it builds. First, you think that you're just missing things, and then you realize weird crap really is happening all around Worf. I love it. And he never loses his cool, even though, all of a sudden he's married to Deanna and they have 2 children and Alexander doesn't exist anymore. He's like, okay, we'll just go with this. And I love it. I think it's Worf at his Worfiness. Worfiest. And yet it does not involve the High Council or leather uniforms or spikes.
Yes.
Except for that cool Batleth trophy.
Yes.
It changed every time.
Yeah, which when he brought it in had this giant curved blade off the top, and he just puts it so gently on this glass table. And I'm thinking, you live with a 4-year-old. You can't leave that on the table. Alexander's going to poke his eye out.
And plus, that's the table that he has to break anytime he's angry.
Yes.
At least put it on a shelf.
Alexander loses an eyeball, he can be like Martok.
There you go.
Or General Chang.
There's so many good quotes, though, from Worf, isn't there?
Yes.
Good tea, nice house.
Mm-hmm.
Which is from the episode... The one where...
The Survivors.
The Survivors, yes. Where Kevin and... Rashawn, yeah. And he's some kind of entity that's basically wiped out a whole species. I'm on a list.
I've got my favorite, but I'm saving it for my sign-off.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, can't wait to hear it.
Men do not roar, women roar, and then they hurl at heavy objects and claw at you. Like, oh.
Yes. What do the men do?
I don't know. It's kind of...
They read love poetry and duck a lot.
Congratulations, you are fully dilated to 10 centimeters. You may now give birth.
I love that too. Oh my gosh.
For a guy who hated parties, because this was a plot line in Parallels, they had a surprise party for him. Mm-hmm. He seemed to have a lot of them, even if they involved Klingon pain sticks.
Yes.
His rite of ascension, or the anniversary of his rite of ascension.
Anniversary of his rite of ascension, yeah.
And his bachelor party.
Earth females are too fragile. He
Yes.
said that at one point too.
I love anytime he gives relationship advice. It is hilarious. And then the way, I think Michael Dorn is an amazing comedic actor. Because the way that Worf kind of looks into the distance and, flares his nostrils and when he's giving relationship advice. Oh my gosh, it's hilarious.
He's the best straight man in Starfleet.
Yes.
Him and Data.
Oh gosh. I am not a merry man.
There you go. That was my line. You took my line.
Oh, that's why I never knew. I've never used it because I knew it was going to be your line.
I'll use it anyway.
Good.
Let's bring up something that I think is a little weird. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about the relationship with Troy that they started developing near the end of the series? Did that feel right? Did it feel organic, or did it just feel kind of icky?
Yes and no.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So the episode where they're investigating the suicide, what's that one called?
Oh, Aquiel. No.
No, in season 7.
Suicide.
Eye of the Beholder?
I think so.
Oh, is that the one where the guy jumps into the warp plasma stream?
Yes.
And there's a telepathic skeleton buried in the wall.
Yeah, that's Eye of the Beholder.
That's Eye of the Beholder.
Proper sci-fi, yeah.
So I didn't realize this for the longest time, but when you look at Eye of the Beholder, the whole Troy and Worf sleeping with each other and all that never actually happened. That was all in Troy's imagination, basically.
Okay.
But I think what really happened with Troy and Worf actually was kind of organic, because they started developing a relationship, because of Alexander, and they started to become close. And then in Parallels, Worf experienced an alternate reality where he was married to Troy, and I definitely think that's what kind of gave him the impetus when he got back to his actual timeline to pursue Troy a little bit. But
kind of planted the seed, and then he thought, maybe that's worth exploring more.
Yeah, so I think what actually happened was organic, but when you take out the stuff, because what happened in Eye of the Beholder, that was all kind of weird. But outside of that, you see them making out and all good things,
and the relationship really didn't last that long either.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So he was dating his best friend's girl, so.
Yeah.
Somebody else's Imzadi. Never a good idea.
Yeah. Can you be an Imzadi number 2?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Imzadi
versus Parmakai. Who's going to win?
Okay. You touched on it earlier, Kevin, when Worf delivered Molly O'Brien. Yeah, I like his relationship with the O'Brien children. He delivered Molly, and he seemed to be the one that could soothe the O'Brien's son when he was born.
Kiriyoshi,
yeah. There's one quote where he says, "I'm a Klingon warrior and a Starfleet officer. I have piloted starships through Dominion minefields. I have stood in battle against Kelvins twice my size. I have courted and won the heart of the magnificent Jadzia Dax. If I can do these things, I can make this child go to sleep."
It's almost like the unassailable task, isn't it?
Yes.
Get a child to do what you want.
They say the strongest material known to humans, or the most inflexible substance known to human beings, is a toddler that doesn't want to get in its car seat. My sister can vouch for that. Any final thoughts on our lovely son of Moog, House of Martok, Worf?
I like Worf. I don't like Klingons, generally speaking. I think I've mentioned this thought since back when I started doing Earl Grey. I don't like Klingons because they were portrayed as this kind of monoculture. They were just one thing, and that was warriors. But I suppose it stands to reason that we only ever saw the aspect of Klingons that through the Klingon Defence Forces and the warrior side of them. We didn't see all the artists and scientists, with the exception of that one Klingon woman in the Metaphysic Shields episode, with the Ferengi guy and the Vulcan woman and her husband, and the name of the episode totally escapes me. But it's a Beverly episode.
It's escaping me too.
And it's called...
it's the one with that guy, that episode.
Dr. Rhaegar.
Yes.
Dr. Rhaegar died, and she's not.
And he's dead, but he's not dead.
Yep. She's not allowed to do an autopsy.
Beverly gets discommendated.
Yep. Dr. Rhaegar.
This is scintillating.
I know.
Scintillating content.
Listeners are screaming the title at us.
Why do these people have a podcast?
Suspicions. So I wouldn't have gotten.
I suppose that's the first time we see a Klingon scientist. But for the most part, it's all Klingon Defence Forces, warships, bat'leths, and I find that kind of a bit dull. I want to see. I think that's one of the things I'm going to say I liked about Picard. When Picard goes down to the Romulan planet to find the Qapla and his wee boy pal, you see all the different types of Romulans that we've seen throughout Star Trek history. We see kind of TNG-styled Romulans. We see TOS ones. I think we even see some ones with the face tattoos, like in Star Trek 2009, the J.J. Abrams style. And I like that. It's a less of a monoculture and more kind of more thought out.
Right.
In Deep Space Nine, we do get the Klingon proprietor of the Klingon restaurant that sings and dances and serves your gach.
Yeah. And on Discovery, they're the Klingon priests that preserve the time stones.
On Boreth.
Yeah.
So there are Klingon mystics, and Worf spent some time on Boreth.
Does he not? Where does he not go? Where does he find Kalis? Does he not go to the monastery somewhere?
On Boreth.
Is it on Boreth?
On Boreth, yeah.
But there's no time crystals. Have they used them all up at that point?
Maybe.
Yeah.
It was on the other side. Boreth is a big planet.
Oh, but
yeah, he was in the caves, not in the time crystal.
He was on the southern continent.
He was in South Boreth, yeah.
South Central Boreth, the rough bit.
Yes. So yeah, I'm one that's always liked the Klingon-y stuff. And a lot of that is because of Worf and TNG. They really fleshed it out. In Deep Space Nine, they really kind of fleshed it out. I agree that it can be kind of a monoculture, but Worf, I think eventually, through his character development, embraces the best of both the Klingon and the human/Federation-y cultures. And there are times where, especially, again, later, like in Deep Space Nine, where he'll stand up to the Klingons. He'll stand up to Gowron and take the Federation's side, where perhaps earlier, early seasons of TNG, he wouldn't have. But I really enjoy his journey throughout the 2 series. And like I said, I identify with him a lot, especially as an expat. Is that the right term? Someone living in the wrong culture.
Well, I was going to say that I think my favorite use of Worf is as that fish out of water / outside observer, right? Mm-hmm. We get to see Worf be funny in those situations. We also get to see him make comments on human society and Federation society and other cultures as well. And it's nice to have that character who can be sort of gruff and brusque and just tell it like it is, because his point of view is from the other, right? Mm-hmm. He's the other on the show.
Yes.
I suppose he's kind of like the Spock from TOS, isn't it? I know Data was kind of the Spock, but I think there's aspects of Spock that fit both Data and Worf.
Right.
Yes. Data was the logical Spock, and Worf was the
and
alien.
plus Worf had all the baggage of being the character who on the previous series was the enemy. So all of a sudden he's also the enemy among us as well. Not that wasn't a plot line on the show, but I'm sure when TNG started back in '87 that just the presence of a Klingon on the bridge really probably shook some people.
Yeah, on the bridge and not on the
I
starboard
bet there
bow.
were nasty letters and primitive emails written.
Yeah, kind of the equivalent of having a Russian on the bridge in TOS, perhaps.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. I suppose that comes back to the point you were saying earlier about Worf wasn't a main character, like he wasn't in that scripting memo, which maybe they thought that would have been a step too far to have a Klingon as like a main character. Yeah. Let's have him as a kind of bit part, and we'll introduce him, and we possibly think that the fans will be able to cope with that. But any further, then it'll be a step too far of them, and we'll lose viewers. Because we've seen that article that came out, but when they announced they were bringing back Star Trek, and the fans were up in arms, or a minority of fans were up in arms, but you can't remake a classic, you can't do that, it's just going to be rubbish. You won't have Kirk, Spock and McCoy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's not really Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly.
Sound familiar?
Mm.
Oh, and I remember that time, and I remember the biggest kind of outrage I observed was, who's this old bald guy as the captain? He's not Captain Kirk, he's some old bald guy. Yeah. It was shocking to have a Klingon on the bridge. Mm. But I'm so glad that they did develop him. I mean, it would have been a huge missed opportunity if they'd have just left him as a bit player.
Yeah. So we have Worf has Armis to thank for the longevity of his Star Trek career.
Heck yeah.
True.
And then when they realized how funny he is, that might be my favorite thing too.
Nice.
Prune juice, a warrior's drink.
Oh, funny.
Incoming transmission.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's show and hope you'll join the Facebook group Federation Council Chambers. You are welcome to start conversations with us or add any general Star Trek info you want to share with the group.
If you would like to send us an email, you can do that and email the network at contact@ufp.earth, and we might read your email on the show. In fact, it's likely that we will read your email on the show.
Please hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a star rating and written review that helps others to find the show. You can also follow the entire network's podcast with our master feed by searching United Federation of Podcasts. This way you won't miss any of our fine shows like All Good Things, Franchise Fatigue, Always Hold On to Arrow, General Quarters, Mickey's Marvels, Infinite Diversity, and Trek Pod. So, Kevin, where can people find you when you're not practicing on the phaser targeting range in the holodeck?
Well, I do need to keep my practice up. My numbers have been way down lately, so I'll be there quite a bit. But if I'm not doing that, you can find me on a couple of other podcasts I do, including Stage Whispers, the local theater podcast. Our latest episode just dropped this week, and there's a huge controversy in our area that this a community has decided to close a theater or not renew the lease on a theater, and it's left a lot of arts groups struggling for space to perform. So that's a big issue that's going on around here. If you're interested in that kind of topic, give Stage Whispers a listen. If you are more interested in WandaVision, give True North Nerds a listen. Or listen to Mickey's Marvels right here on the network. They are doing great coverage of WandaVision as well. But I'm on True North Nerds talking about WandaVision quite a bit lately. And you can message me at True North Nerds on Twitter or find me in the Federation Council Chambers. I'm way too many places. So, Rhea, where can people find you when you win a Batleth tournament? No, when you place 9th in a Batleth tournament. No, when you can't make the Batleth tournament and have to send your brother. No, when the Batleth tournament never happened. Where can people find you?
Well, when I'm not winning Batleth tournaments that I sent my brother to that never happened, you can find me on the Federation Council Chambers. You can also contact me by sending an old-fashioned email to contact@ufp.earth. Otherwise, I'll be at home doing laundry and living my exciting life as a non-Klingon. Joe, where can people find you when you are not traveling through different timelines, sampling different flavors of cake?
That sounds good.
It does sound good.
Doesn't sound good. Lemon cake. Cake. Yeah. Or chocolate cake. Raspberry's a favourite flavour of mine for cake.
Raspberry cake or like chocolate cake with raspberry top?
A lot of chocolate cake. Chocolate and raspberries just go so well together, don't they?
Yes, they do.
I know Amy doesn't like fruit kind of flavoured sweets. Like fruit and chocolate for Amy doesn't go together. She's weird.
Love them together.
Yeah. But when I'm not doing that, well, if I was doing that, I'd be like morbidly obese. And I wouldn't be able to fit back through the portal back to my home universe. But when I'm not doing that, you can find me on the Federation Council Chambers. You can tweet me on the Twitter at JoeyJoe77UK. You can email me, joepodcasts@gmail.com. And yeah, that's, I think, isn't it?
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
If you'd like to help us keep all our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/UFPearth. That's patreon.com/UFPEARTH to get all the details. We have 4 different levels starting at just $1 per month, and would appreciate any support you can give us.
We would like to recognize our amazing executive producers, Brandon Shea-Mutala, Ken Tripp, Zach Moore, and Tony Robinson. Also, thanks to Zach Tripp for our opening and closing music, and to Tony Robinson for our fantastic artwork.
Thank you for beaming aboard the Galaxy class, and until next time...
A warrior does not let a friend face danger alone.
Human bonding rituals often involve a great deal of talking, and dancing, and crying.
Death to the opposition! Stay classy, Galaxy.
Engage.
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.
What's that Death to the Opposition from? Oh, so it is. Of course it is. It's a brilliant episode. Oh, no. Rewind.
I'm editing that out.
No, that needs to... Or make it the tag at the end.
Okay.